everyone. We are excited for our topic today. Hope you guys are having a good week. We are talking about submitting to leaders. And as usual, I'm going to go ahead and start with a quote from R.C. Sproul. And it says, "The very word authority has within it the word author. An author is someone who creates and possesses a particular work. Insofar as God is the foundation of all authority, he exercises that foundation because he is the author and the owner of his creation. He is the foundation upon which all other authority stands or falls." I think that's a really cool quote to start submission with, to remember that our leaders are put in place by God, and we are called to pray for them. And so remembering that he's the author and looking to God during that time of submission. So Pastor Stephen's going to talk for a little bit about the biblical standpoint on it.
Yeah, there's a lot to leadership, guys, and in our world today, there's a lot of books on leadership, a lot of things being put out. But one of the things we want you guys to realize is all of those leaders at Bow Down who have been put into place, they've been selected by leadership that God has put here, and they've been selected by God himself. So there's a calling that we've recognized on their life. And so as you read through the New Testament, one of the things that the Apostle Paul does with the church in a number of places is he actually uses his way of life to validate his ministry and his teaching. And every single one of the leaders that represent Bow Down, they can be validated by us. And so as you're coming in to serve, maybe you're new and maybe you have some difficulties or issues with processes or policies, or you're misunderstanding, just know that the leader over you has been proven. They've been chosen, and leadership has validated them for the position they're in. Now, it doesn't mean things are going to be perfect, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to have issues. But it does mean we expect you to submit to their authority. And it's important. I want to share with you Hebrews chapter 13, 2 verses in this chapter. The first verse is verse 7. It says, "Remember your leaders, those who spoke to you the word of God. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith." So if you're having issues or difficulties or you're questioning things, remember, the leader has been validated by the Lord. There's a testimony that they've walked in that has allowed them to be put in that position. And also another verse, verse 17 of the same chapter, it says, "Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you." So one of the things we recognize is we want you to grow, and we want their leadership to be an advantage to you. If you're not joyfully walking in what they've laid out for you to walk in, there's going to be issues in the ministry, but it's also going to hamper your own growth. So with that in mind, please submit to the leaders. We know that leaders have a great call, and there's a great weight to walk out what they're supposed to be. And there's this quote about leadership, and I know Katie gave you a quote. I want to add this one to it. "A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be."
Yeah, that's really good. Very, very good. I love that quote. So now I'm going to talk about our policy, right? How this kind of plays into our handbook that we might have given you guys, or things that we go over as your leaders. There's not necessarily a quote-unquote policy for submitting to leaders, but there's certain things that we ask you guys to do. So for instance, in children's church, if you're going to be gone, we ask that you find a replacement. And so if you don't find that replacement, that's not really submitting to our leadership, and it throws kind of the schedule off. I also want to encourage you guys that your children that you're over in outreach or in children's church, they pick up on things. So if they see you not submitting to authority, say in outreach you're only supposed to give out one snack per child, but you're giving out multiple snacks. Then Pastor Stephen comes on the scene, and he's like, "No, it's one snack per child." They're going to be like, "Nope, I'm going to take as many snacks as I want because this leader doesn't, put a limit to it." So we want to encourage you guys that your children are watching you. They're going to see if you're submitting to leadership, and they're going to follow alongside. So we encourage you to submit, and we hope you have a great week. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, feel free to contact either one of us. Talk to you guys soon.